Welcome to Memberships Mastery, the podcast where business, design, and technology come together to help you scale smarter. I'm Josh Lomolino, and every week we dive into strategies for building thriving memberships, designing powerful user experiences, and turning your expertise into scalable digital products. From automation and programming to content and community, you'll learn how to work less, earn more, and create the freedom to live life on your terms. Let's get started. You're working 14-hour days. Your inbox is a battlefield you never fully conquer. Your to-do list grows faster than you can check items off. And somehow, you're convinced this is what success looks like. Every entrepreneur you follow seems to be grinding harder, posting about 5 a.m. starts and midnight finishes, celebrating the hustle, wearing exhaustion like a badge of honor. So you push harder, skip lunch to squeeze in another client call, answer emails at 9 p.m., work through weekends because that's what it takes. But here's what no one tells you. The hustle that got you started is the same hustle that will burn you out. I know this intimately because I lived it for years, not because I was lazy or lacked dedication, but because I believed the deadliest lie in entrepreneurship, that working more hours equals building more value. In the next few minutes, you'll discover why 14-hour days don't create growth, they prevent it. The exact moment I realized my business model was designed to exhaust me, how to build leverage instead of just adding more hours to your calendar. Why balance isn't laziness, it's the foundation of sustainable success, and the principle that changes everything about how you work. This is for you if you're working longer hours than you did in your corporate job. Your creativity is declining despite putting in more effort. You feel trapped by a business model that requires constant output. You know something needs to change, but you're afraid slowing down means falling behind. When I launched my business, I had crystal clear visions of freedom and impact. I'd wake up energized, work on projects I loved, and build something meaningful. I'd have time for my family, space for creativity, margin for the unexpected opportunities that make entrepreneurship exciting. 3 years later, reality looked nothing like that vision. My energy wasn't increasing, it was evaporating. My creativity wasn't flourishing, it was dying under the weight of constant deadlines. My margin wasn't expanding. It had disappeared entirely. Over 10 years ago, I had traded a 40-hour corporate week for a 70-hour entrepreneurial marathon. I had swapped predictable stress for constant pressure. I had replaced boundaries with the myth that hustle equals progress. The freedom I chased had become the cage I built for myself. The wake-up call came at 3:15 p.m. on a Sunday in November. I was sitting at my kitchen table, laptop open, working on a client project that was due Monday morning. My kids were playing in the backyard. I could hear their laughter through the window, but I couldn't join them because I was behind. Again, my wife came in from outside. They keep asking when you're coming out. I didn't look up from my screen. Just need to finish this section, maybe in an hour. She stood there for a moment, then quietly said, "You said that yesterday, and the day before." The words landed like a punch to the gut. I looked at my calendar for the past month. Every single day was packed from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Every weekend had work bleeding into family time. Every vacation had been working vacations where I brought my laptop and checked email between activities. I asked myself the question I'd been avoiding for months. What am I actually building here? A business or a prison? The answer was devastating. I wasn't building freedom. I was building a business model that required me to be everything all the time, forever. That Sunday afternoon, I realized hustle looks heroic until it burns you down. Years later, while helping other entrepreneurs escape burnout, I saw the same pattern repeat itself over and over. They weren't lazy. They were working harder than ever, But their business models were designed around constant output, perpetual availability, and trading time for money at an unsustainable rate. Can you relate to this scenario? A consultant specializing in healthcare systems who had built a thriving practice with 30 active clients, but every client required weekly calls, custom deliverables, and immediate response times. She was generating six figures, but working 80-hour weeks. When she restructured half her clients into a group membership model with asynchronous resources and monthly live sessions, she cut her work hours by 30% while maintaining the same revenue. Or how about an online educator creating courses who had fallen into the launch cycle trap? Every 90 days meant another high-pressure promotion, another sprint to create new content, another exhausting climb up the same mountain. His income looked impressive on paper, but he was perpetually one launch away from collapse. When he converted his best-selling course into an evergreen membership with monthly content additions, his stress dropped dramatically while his revenue became predictable. Or how about a service provider doing done-for-you work who prided herself on custom solutions for every client? But customization meant nothing was replicable, nothing scaled, and she was constantly starting from zero with each new project. When she created a hybrid model with a membership component offering templates, frameworks, and group coaching alongside her premium custom work, she freed up 20 hours per week. The lesson is clear. The business model you choose determines whether you build margin or just burn brighter. Most entrepreneurs hear the word balance and think it means working less or caring less about their business. But that's not balance. That's retreat. Balance means building leverage instead of just adding hours. Real balance means your business can grow without your hours increasing proportionally. It means your revenue isn't capped by your available time. It means your best ideas come from margin, not from grinding through exhaustion. It means you stop trying to be the bonfire that burns bright and fast and start building the fireplace that delivers consistent warmth for years. Think about a bonfire. It's spectacular. It lights up the night sky. Everyone gathers around it, mesmerized by the flames. But bonfires burn hot and fast. They consume everything you feed them. And when the fuel runs out, they collapse into ash. That's what 14-hour days feel like. Impressive in the moment, unsustainable over time. Eventually, you run out of fuel. Now think about a fireplace. It doesn't burn as dramatically, but it provides steady warmth for hours, days, even entire winters. You can control the heat. You can step away and come back. It's designed for the long haul, not just the spectacular moment. That's what leverage looks like in a business. Steady output, sustainable energy, systems that work even when you're not actively feeding the flames. Most entrepreneurs build bonfires because bonfires look heroic. But the ones who last, the ones who build real wealth and real freedom, they're building fireplaces. After that Sunday afternoon wake-up call, I spent 6 months deconstructing what sustainable growth actually required. I discovered leverage isn't one thing. It's 3 interconnected layers that transform how your business operates. First, revenue leverage. Income that doesn't reset. The first shift is moving from trading time for money to building assets that generate recurring value. One-time projects mean you start at zero every month. Every dollar requires a new sale, a new deliverable, a new sprint. You can't build momentum because you're constantly rebuilding the foundation. Recurring revenue changes the equation. When members pay monthly for ongoing access, transformation, or support, your baseline grows. Each month builds on the last. Revenue compounds instead of resets. I discovered this when I transitioned half my client work into a membership model. Instead of delivering custom projects that consumed weeks of my time, I created frameworks, templates, and monthly group sessions that served dozens of clients simultaneously. My hours decreased, my impact increased, my revenue stabilized. Second, delivery leverage, systems that scale without you. The second shift is building systems that deliver value even when you're not actively working. Custom work requires your direct involvement in every transaction. One client, one deliverable, one-time investment. You can't scale because you are the bottleneck. Systematized delivery changes the math. Recorded lessons that teach while you sleep. Automated onboarding that welcomes new members without your manual effort. Templates and frameworks that guide transformation without requiring your real-time presence. I built this when I created my core membership content library. Instead of repeating the same teaching in individual calls, I recorded comprehensive modules that members could access on their schedule. I went from teaching the same concepts 20 times per month to teaching them once and serving hundreds. The third layer is energy leverage, margin that fuels creativity. The third shift is protecting space for strategic thinking instead of filling every hour with tactical execution. Constant busyness feels productive, but it kills creativity. Your best ideas don't come from grinding. They come from margin, from space to think, experiment, and see patterns that busyness obscures. Strategic margin changes everything. When you're not drowning in deliverables, you can see opportunities you were too exhausted to notice. You can innovate instead of just replicate. You can build instead of just survive. I experienced this when I finally blocked 2 hours every week for strategic work only. No client calls, no email, just thinking, planning, and creating. Those 2 hours per week generated more business value than the 40 hours I spent in execution mode. Here's the truth that took me years to understand. Working harder doesn't create growth. Leverage creates growth. You can hustle your way to your first revenue milestones. Sheer willpower and long hours can get you started, but you cannot hustle your way to sustainable success. At some point, every entrepreneur hits the ceiling where more hours don't equal more results, where working harder just means burning out faster, where the business model itself is the constraint. That ceiling isn't a failure of work ethic. It's a signal that you need a different model. The entrepreneurs who break through aren't working more hours. They're building more leverage. Today, my business doesn't require me to be everything, all the time, forever. I work smaller amounts of focus time instead of scattered 70-hour marathons. And even though it's hard to retrain myself, I've been known to take off entire days and weeks, and I've even taken months off at a time, completely walking away while my team keeps moving the company forward. This is possible because the intentional investment into systems. These systems are sometimes technical, but many times it's just capturing patterns of thought and frameworks and processes into repeatable workflows. Someday I may even be able to completely take off time without guilt or anxiety. My hope is to get to that point and retrain myself. Now, when I go on vacations, it's more of a 90% chance that the laptop stays closed, where before it was more like a 10% chance because systems handle what used to require my constant attention. I'm not claiming everything is effortless or that I never face challenges. Building a business still requires work, strategy, and occasional intense sprints. But the difference is profound. My business can grow without my hours increasing proportionally. When I add a new member, it doesn't require more hours from me. When I launch new content, it serves hundreds instead of just one. When I step away for a weekend, revenue continues flowing because it's built on recurring relationships, not constant hustle. I'm not trying to burn brighter. I'm building systems that create consistent warmth. If your business feels like a constant sprint that never ends, you're not failing at entrepreneurship. You're succeeding at the wrong model. The same principles that transformed my burnout into sustainable growth can work for you. This might mean shifting some of your client work into group or membership formats. It might mean creating reusable systems instead of custom solutions. It might mean building recurring revenue instead of chasing one-time projects. Sustainable success isn't built on how many hours you can endure. It's built on how much leverage you can create. Your business can generate real income and create genuine impact, but only if you design it for the long haul instead of the short sprint. Before you add another hour to your calendar or push through another weekend, ask yourself these questions. What would need to change for your revenue to grow without your hours increasing? Where's the gap between your current model and one that creates leverage? If you took a full week off, what would break in your business? Those breaking points reveal where you need systems instead of hustle. When was the last time you had margin for strategic thinking instead of just tactical execution? If you can't remember, that's your answer. If this resonates with you, I'm going to ask that you take one step further to get more freedom in your life. I've put together my leverage framework. It walks you through the 3 levels of leverage so you can stop burning out and start building sustainably. Grab it for free on my site. As soon as you request it, my systems I designed to give me freedom to serve you. 24/7 will send it to you in less than 30 seconds. I'll show you how you can get these same systems in place in your business. That's it for today's installment. Tune in next time, where I'll show you the hidden cost of building alone and why the entrepreneurs who succeed fastest are the ones who build in community.